Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Esteemed Gentleman podcast for Wednesday, July 14th. I'm your host, Scott LeBrie. Join alongside me, we have Uncle Teabag, Tyler Sunt,
Hello.
and all day Eric Deshane.
Hello.
Everybody's doing today.
Good.
I'm doing okay, I guess.
All right, yeah.
Cool. We're
The day done.
Yeah. We're like halfway through July already.
Already. Christ, yeah.
Fuck,
Crazy.
I know.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but it'll be snow on the ground right away, and I hate that thought.
Yeah.
'Cause we just got out of it.
Yeah.
I feel like this year has been flying by pretty quick.
It has
I've
been.
noticed it
general.
last few years. I think once I turned 30, it's just been like, yeah, now the years are flying
That's
by
it.
way too fast. Yeah. That's
Yep.
exactly what happened.
It's a downward spiral.
Mhm.
Every month is a day. Every day
Yep.
is a second.
Well, yeah, like it's
Yeah,
the day I'm like,
exactly.
the other day I'm thinking like, oh yeah, no, it's I had COVID a few months ago. I'm like, no, I had COVID back in January. Like, what? I just felt like it was like a few weeks ago almost. That's how it
Mhm.
felt
Yeah.
like that. But no, it was 7 months ago already. Like, fuck, that's just too fast, man.
Yeah. Time is
Mhm.
irrelevant in the void of reality.
Yeah,
We've been doing this podcast for over half a year already.
already, yeah.
Isn't that
That's
crazy?
wild. That's wild.
We're
Mhm.
coming up on episode 100 in
Yep.
August sometime,
Yeah.
middle of
Yeah.
August. So
Gonna have to do something wild
Mhm.
yeah,
to celebrate 100
let's
episodes.
get a pinata.
Ooh,
Okay.
Okay.
2.5 man attack a pinata. That sounds like watchable content.
2.5 men and a pinata.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be other stuff, but
Mhm.
We
pinata.
can start with the
We
pinata.
got time to think about it. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's have somebody like in a cake jump out of it.
Oh God.
Right? Oh man, there's somebody, yeah. Good
Mhm.
idas.
Yeah.
Keith
think of
David
something.
in a cake.
Oh, we can we can afford Keith David? Come on.
Happy episode 100, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today we're gonna be talking about our grandparents, mostly because my younger sister, who listens to the show every episode, thank you very much, she dies laughing whenever Tyler tells a funny story about his German grandma, especially when he does her voice.
Hard
so-
not to.
You
Yeah.
try not to.
No, it's hard not to
Oh,
talk like her because
yeah.
she had just such a distinct voice. It's just and
Mhm.
her accent is just we're around her so much. But yeah, I don't know why it's so funny. I'm just telling stories of what happened.
I think they're just kind of crazy stories too to begin with.
No.
So
Mhm.
No,
and
that's-
yeah, so I mean, like, I figured let's talk about. We haven't really talked about my grandparents or Eric's grandparents. We've heard a few stories from Tyler's.
Yep.
Let's talk about them, I guess.
Mhm.
Anybody want to go first?
Well, I mean, mine's easy enough. I just had my
First off, I
grandparents, my
want
mom's
to
stuff.
ask: is anybody's grandparents still alive?
Yes, I have my one grandma still on my mom's side.
Oh, okay.
yeah. Well, the German grandmother that I talk about all the time, she actually passed away, but her husband, my grandpa, he's still alive.
Okay.
And then my mother's parents, Nana and Papa, they're still alive.
Mhm.
Okay. Both my sets of grandparents have passed away.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
it's a thing like my dad is like your scenario, Eric, where he came
Mhm.
out and like way after the fact.
Yeah.
So my grandparents like were way old.
Mhm.
When I was growing up, so like in high school, my grandpa passed away and he was 96 or something like that.
Okay.
so,
Yeah. No.
Oh, wow.
uh,
Okay.
Yeah, and my grandma just passed away a couple years ago now. So
Mhm.
and she was 95 or something like that. So
Yeah. See, no,
Jeez.
my grandparents never got that old. No. My dad's the middle child of 13, and the oldest is like, in his late 70s now. But my Shane grandparents passed away, I think, when they're both in their 60s. My grandma passed away late 50s, I want to say, to heart failure, and then my grandpa, same thing, not even 70, I don't think yet he passed away. But they lived a little harder lives back then too, right? So they passed away quite young. But yeah, I never knew them at all because they passed away both before I was born, so I never got to know them at all before that. And the only people I knew was my Gervais grandparents on my mom's side. They were around till my grandpa passed away 2012, I want to say. So I knew
Right.
him quite well before he passed, but I still know my grandma Genevieve too quite a bit as well. So see her all the time, and yeah, she's always around. So yeah,
Yeah.
but
Were you close with your grandparents at all, or not?
yeah,
Not sure.
yes and no. Problem was, I didn't realize until I just got told this a few years ago. Actually, what happened was, at a very young age, when I was maybe not even 2 years old, a year and a half old, I went in for my mumps shot, I think it was, and I had a terrible reaction to it. So my mom brought me to my grandparents and spent the night there. And I guess I cried. I was miserable the whole time, and something about that just set me off to going to my grandparents. I hated
Oh,
going to.
really?
Up until I was like almost like a teenager. Like I just hated going to. It's just I don't know. Is that a bad vibe? For some reason, I don't know why. I just had that reaction was at a very early age. It scarred me, and I just could not get over the fact. But once I was like, old enough to comprehend, like how everything was, and oh yeah, it was got along great with him, and I had lots of good memories with him and everything else. But yeah, up
Yeah.
until the early childhood, I couldn't stand going there for the longest time. But not like nothing against them. I love them to death. It's just I don't know what it was, just that set me off. The little fear at an early age just took me the wrong way. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it
Huh.
bugs me, and but to this day, it bugs me that I was like that because I cherish those memories now more than anything else, and I hate that I don't have. I wanted more, and I didn't think of it like that, right? So yeah. So if it was just me and my grandparents, and yeah, I had a hard time just enjoying it, and us family was there, but now it's like why was I like that? I missed out on so many good opportunities, and they're gone now. So yeah, yeah. So.
Shit.
hmm
Yeah, it was kind of different. Like on my, I was very close to my grandma and grandpa on my dad's side,
hmm
and but not so close to like my papa and my on my mom's side.
hmm
Um, just because I don't know, like with they're both in the like my I grew up in Elk Point, of course, and then
hmm
my grandparents on my dad's side were like halfway to St. Paul, just by the curve there before
hmm
the valley, and then but my papa, he was lived in St. Paul, so I don't know why we never visited him very often. But
hmm
with my dad's on my dad's side, we like literally every Friday night would be going over to their house
hmm
for coffee and yeah, and then like also like they were like the de facto babysitters if
hmm
for summertime if they needed to drop me off there. So I grew up
hmm
really close with them, and that was really awesome. But yeah, I don't know.
hmm
And Tyler, you were really close with your grandparents, from what I've heard.
hmm
On my dad's side, yeah,
Yeah.
we were really, really close. My grandparents were relatively young when they had my dad, and then, well, my parents were pretty young when they had me too, so I got to spend a lot of time with them. Like we were,
hmm
yeah. They lived in Ashmont. We grew up around Mallaig, St. Lina. Well,
hmm
we grew up in St. Lina. Well, I started school in Ashmont, and my grandmother owned the general store there. My grandpa ran his plumbing business out the back, and we lived in a trailer house. Just like literally like a block away, like half a block away. Like you could literally see the store from
hmm
where our window was, because there's not a lot there like there is now. Well, still not a lot, but I mean,
There's
whatever.
still a hell of a lot there.
Yeah, and we used to just me and my friend Calvin. He used to live next door. We used to roam the streets all the time and just walk around, and like that story I told you about when we found the burning cigarette.
hmm
But he used to stop in at grandma's store, and she used to do customers laundry there. Like she would offer laundry services for people. They dropped their laundry off, she'd wash and
Hmm.
fold it, whatever, and she'd have her cigarette in her mouth and whatever, and she had the arcades going and always had the newest movies because my grandpa and my grandma were really big into movies. So I used to go over there and play arcades all the time, and grandma would like go to the key and make sure that no other customers are there, unlock the little machine so I could just like keep playing for free to get really high levels and stuff on Street Fighter and
Yeah.
whatever else. So that was pretty badass. And then grandma would be like, "You should go ask your parents if you can spend the night, PV." And I'm like, "Okay, grandma." And I'd run over, "Mom, Dad, can I spend the night, grandma, grandpa?" So like, again, oh my God, no, you need to spend the night at home. And I'd just be like
hmm
so upset because I loved going over there
Oh.
all the time.
Oh yeah, of
Because
course.
I
Yeah.
was like, I was babied like all the time.
Oh
I was,
yeah.
hmm
I was like put on a pedestal all the time.
hmm
So, but no, and grandpa was just as cool too. Like, let us watch whatever, and if you want to swear, you can swear in front of us. I don't give a shit, whatever, right? Like, and didn't have to like watch what I said around my other relatives and stuff. But
Yeah.
no, it was awesome. And even when we moved to St. Lina, we were going over to my grandparents all the time. My parents would play ball, and then
hmm
they'd drop us all off at grandma and grandpa's for the weekend if they wanted to go to a tournament or something.
Hmm.
And we had no issue going over there.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we'd watch movies all the time, and sometimes grandma would put us to work cleaning up their yard. They lived on a big ass acreage. Once they moved out of the apartment above the store and sold the store, they had a huge fucking acreage. Actually, we were gonna possibly get the place. That would have been cool, but then it's like, you know what? That's a lot of work. It
Yeah.
was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like I have a hard enough time cutting the grass here. Couldn't imagine spending like literally 8 hours on a riding lawnmower,
Mhm.
just to keep up, every
Right.
3 days. Like, there's no way. There's no way. But my grandma, she took care of it, man. She was just
Mhm.
like that crazy German driven psychotic work ethic, just nonstop, always going. Yeah. Got her big Benson and Hedges cigarette, about Cruella de Vil, like
Jeez.
foot long cigarettes, just giving her. Yeah, she'd go over the main yard with the riding lawnmower, and then along the
Mhm.
edges of stuff, she'd have the push mower, and she had the right tool for everything. Yeah,
Mhm.
good times. But then on my mom and dad's, or sorry, on my mom's side, they lived like 8 or 9 hours away. Nana, Papa, like Nana was awesome. She was a huge video gamer, the one
Mhm.
that was like had Game Boys and Super Nintendo, and always bought all the games and stuff. She was really cool. Always good time hanging out with them
Mhm.
too. So I was really lucky. Have awesome grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
yeah,
For sure.
but yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Cool.
Do you guys have any like cool memories from your grandparents or going to their place,
Yeah.
that sort of thing?
One always I think about every now and then too is my grandpa had potato gun, but he mounted
Yeah.
it in an old lawnmower frame, so it could wheel it around and have it was like a mortar almost. It was angled at the right angle. You can fire it off like a mortar shot, so it just high arc and just go wherever you want.
Yeah.
And oh fuck, we used to play on that thing all the goddamn time, and just like launch a garden's worth of potatoes in a night and go through so many cans of aerosol. Like me and my other cousins, my grandpa, and he was the worst of them all. Like he just kept going and just not stop shooting the
That's
shit. And,
awesome.
oh, there was so great doing that. And then yeah, we did lots of quadding too because this their farm in Malake had lots of back trails to go behind on the farm too. So lots
Mhm.
of quadding with him and did lots of stuff with that. Yeah, so lots of outdoor stuff with my grandpa. I remember that for sure. And then yeah, so and then he
Hmm.
got me into woodworking and stuff like that too. So. But yeah, we
Cool.
fucking destroyed that potato gun. Till rusted out pretty much. We fired it so
That's
much, everything it
sweet.
blew out in the bottom. Like, yeah, we're done with this. We can't use it no more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
that's cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like, my grandparents also lived on an acreage on my dad's side there.
Hmm.
So and them being quite old, it was hard for them to get around. So eventually, they bought a golf cart to go around their property and stuff. So I
Fuck.
mean, like when they weren't using it, then like the kids were just basically like pedal to the metal,
Rip-
drive it, ripping that thing around.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And uh, I remember first like when they first got it, and I was just learning how to drive it, and I must have been maybe like 10 years old, maybe even younger. I'm not even sure.
yeah.
And so I'm driving it, and my dad is like standing in the back where like the bags go.
Yeah.
And we're just driving around, and my like grandma like had this little like shitty greenhouse that's like not even glass. It was just like, I don't know, PVC or some bullshit.
Hmm.
Right.
And 8 years old, like I don't get that, like the whole like object fixation kind of thing. Like if you're looking at it, that's where you're gonna be going.
Hmm.
And so I was just like looking at it, and then my dad's like, hit the brakes, hit the brakes. And then I was just like froze up and just boom, just plowed through this side
Oh.
of the greenhouse.
My
And
God.
I was like, all right, well, you're gonna help your grandparents pick pine cones to
Hmm.
pay that off. I'm like,
You're
all
working that
right,
off. Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
God.
Yeah.
But they, yeah, the same thing. They were always like spoiled us, like
Hmm.
rotten. Like
Mhm.
grandma was always baking like so much good stuff, like homemade Nanaimo bars, fig bars,
Mm.
cakes, all that other
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
That's the one thing my grandma always had too
Yeah.
was you want a snacks. There was a freezer full. And she pull them out every time, and you get spoiled so much.
Yeah.
To this day, still, she comes by at home. She'll bring over like two big like margarine containers full of snacks. Like, oh yeah, this in the freezer for us.
Oh,
But man, like stop. Like you're alone. Why do you keep making this? All for you guys. Like, oh, all right.
right.
I guess I'll eat it. Twist my arm. I guess.
Right.
See, that's the thing that my grandparents didn't do was the baking thing. They always
Yeah.
bought stuff. They always had
Mhm.
like chocolate bars and chips and all that stuff, right? Like the baking stuff. Actually, that's mostly what my mom does. Is all the baking.
Hmm.
So it's kind of wild. Like like even when I go to school, and everybody would have like homemade Nibel bars and all that stuff. I'm like, why do you guys always have oh grandparents stop by, blah blah. I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, oh, you have Pop Tarts, you have this, and I'm like, yeah, give me your guys's. Then my mom was big into baking, so then I had the like our Christmas cookies that my mom makes all the time are like like crack cookies. Everybody always wanted those.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, a funny story that just made me think of my grandpa actually. So my grandpa would have like these ritualistic like midnight 1 a.m. shits in the middle of the night. He would just go to the bathroom and just take a shit, whatever. So I found this out the hard way actually. So I was like sleeping one night, and we all basically had our own rooms. Like there's 2 guest rooms. Like so, Jason and I would sleep together. Kirk and Zach would sleep together. And sleeping, I'm like, oh, I have to go to the washroom. So I'd get up, and it was like I don't know 2 in the morning, and I open up the door because my grandparents used to smoke in the house, and like the smoke smell was like much stronger, and I'm like, oh man, it's really smells like burning. I go into the bathroom, I walk inside, and I see this bright red little cherry just floating in the middle of the air, and I'm like looking, I'm like, what the fuck is that? I walked in closer, and then I hear, Pee-wee, what are you doing up? I'm like, oh! I'm like, what are you doing? Why did you close the fucking door, man? Oh my god. He's like, yeah, I'm almost done. You got to take a leak or what? I'm like, oh, he fucking gave me a heart attack. Like 2 or 3 occasions that's happened before. Like even after that, as I got older, like that's I think the first time I was, I don't know, 11, 12. And then it just happened progressively through that. And I just get up, maybe walk, I'd be like, oh, look for the little red cherry. Like, oh, he's still sitting in there. He'd just be sitting there, just looking out the window, just tidy whities, gut hanging out, just Pee-wee, I'm still in here. Crazy old bastard.
That's interesting, like
stuff.
taking a midnight shit, because like you do midnight, like take a piss in the middle of the night all the time, but I've never ever had to go. Like,
No,
and ritualistically, like every night he would do that.
Yeah, every night that we spent the night there, and we spent a lot of nights there.
That's
a lot of nights there. Yeah,
That's
he would just
a
be
weird schedule.
kind of like a weird like high fiber diet or something like that.
something. I'm not sure, man. It's weird, but yeah. And we used to always have movie nights too.
Oh yeah,
all the time. Good times, man. Good stuff. My grandma used to take out her dentures whenever she'd eat the chocolate bars, so she could savor the flavor more. Just gum the shit out of it. Oh, God. Yeah.
Moving on, it reminds me too of one thing. We always watched. My grandparents had a massive collection of Mr. Bean.
Oh yeah.
Shows. That was the one thing they always watched on repeat over and over. I remember like watching it like only like 13 episodes, whatever it is, right? But we watch it over and over, and we love it every time. And they always got me hooked on that for sure. There, so
Yeah.
Mr. Bean was a go-to at their place all the time. I
Yeah.
remember watching that all the time. That or Bugs Bunny cartoons as well too.
That was
really?
the shitty part of going about grandparents' place was like we were not allowed to touch the TV controller.
Oh yeah.
Ever. So it was like man, you better bring a book or a Game Boy or something like that, because they're gonna be watching the fucking Grand Slam of curling all fucking day. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. Unless that was on, but like most of the times we went over there, like no, either Pepe's outside, working on the tractors or working something, and he's in the kitchen doing something else. So us kids just kind of put in the living room and watch TV, right? So yeah, and then unless curling was on or something, hockey was on or something else, but then there'd be a whole bench full and people full in the living room watching whatever else too, right? So we join in with that. But during the day, they didn't care. And Pepe was outside doing something else. So yeah.
That was with us too. That was always kind of the rule for us. As much as we watched and played games all the time, like they had a computer, like an up-to-date computer, so I used to play Command and Conquer on there all the time, and like the Resident Evil, like for PlayStation, they had it on PC. But we bought it and then would bring it to theirs place and play it. But like during the day, you always had shit to do. Like you work and then you get to play all you want. Once it's supper time, you eat and then you just relax and then you pick which movies you want to watch. Because when they sold the store, they had like 500 or 600 VHS tapes, like on a huge wall. Right. And we would just go and pick, and as we got older, we were allowed to watch different ones. But unless the boys went to bed early, I'd stay up with them, and we'd watch the R-rated stuff.
Nice.
So, but that was pretty sweet. That was pretty slick. That was a nice setup. That's pretty awesome.
That's a cool thing. Yeah,
Mm.
I guess it makes sense if you had the story, you have a collection of stuff to use up, right? So yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
like a lot of the movies they hadn't even watched. Like it was just movies that they had at the store and just brought
yeah,
them. And
yeah.
but my grandpa had bought satellite. Like I was always up to date with the newest technology for TV,
Mhm.
satellite, TV shows, all that shit. And I remember his satellite dish was like massive, like this big black
The
satellite
old
dish.
ones, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
very first ones that came out, they were like 8 feet wide. They were huge,
yeah,
right? The big
yeah.
dishes, yeah,
So he can get his
yeah.
HBO and get the movie channels.
Mhm.
That he just loved those, and he would watch. He would have like his boxing. He would watch, and then I didn't really care much for the boxing, but he was huge into boxing.
Mhm.
And then the crime shows like Sopranos and stuff would come on, and he'd always like make sure to mark on the calendar, set an alarm for when it was coming on.
Mm.
They were gonna watch Sopranos and Rome and whatever else.
That's
So
awesome.
Yeah,
that was pretty sweet.
back before TVR was a thing. It's like, oh, you have to
Yep,
purposely make a time to watch it. You can't just
yep.
record it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, and then for shows that we like too, they would well, my Nana and Papa too, they would use the VHS tapes, blank ones, and record off the satellite all the Saturday morning cartoons for us because we
Yeah.
only had like the two channels, right? So whenever we go up there, they'd have like all these movies. They would just deliberately record these cartoons for us so we could watch them at home after.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was cool.
That's cool. That's nice.
I feel like I'm going back in time. Good times, man.
Good
Good
time.
times.
Simpler times. Yeah.
Yeah. As wild as we were as kids, like and the shit we went through, we had it pretty good. We were
Yeah.
just all complete idiots. That's all. Trying to kill each other all the time. But
Boys.
yeah,
That's
we were
what
we
guys were
were we
boys.
were yeah, we were well taken care of though,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So,
Awesome.
Yeah. We all did our
yeah.
fair share of stupid shit as kids. Yeah.
Oh
So.
my god. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Big
Mhm.
time.
Any
Yeah.
other funny stories you guys can think of, or
Nothing I think of too much. It's super funny. Lots of memories
Yes.
just kind of hanging out. Lots of fires and lots of just
mm,
chill nights there. And Malik's only 20 minutes, 50 minutes from St. Linus, so it wasn't a stretch to go out, like say till 1, 2 in the morning, playing cards or do whatever else with the parents, then go home.
Yeah.
So nope,
Yeah,
lots of
that's
yeah. Nope.
yeah. I used to do the same thing. Like whenever the weekend would come, I'd be working at the seed plant, and then Friday night, like Friday, my grandma would phone or I would phone them, be like, "Hey, you
Mhm,
guys, can I come over this weekend?" And they'd be like, "Yep, come on over. Bring some movies. Bring some movies."
mhm.
And my grand'd be like, "You got any more of those superhero shows with the kids and the powers? I like those movies." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'll bring some X-Men movies or something, whatever." And my grandpa's like, "Yeah, bring that Bruce Willis one with where they're in the jungle and shooting those." I don't want to say the word because it's racist.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know which one. Tears of the Sun. Yeah, you got it. I'll bring that one. Sure. Yeah, you got it.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got
that could
it.
be like a total other question. Like, how racist were your grandparents?
Ugh. Yeah, they said
Yeah.
whatever was on their mind, but
Yeah, same.
Hmm.
but they definitely like my grandpa worked on the reserve like all the time, and he got along with everybody. Same with my
Hmm.
dad too.
Yeah.
Like that,
Mhm.
he'd make fun of them all the time, but he just like
Yeah.
he'd always go out there. They'd always be happy to see him, and like worked really well with them and joked all the time. And my grandpa was the kind of guy that always wanted to get along with everybody and make people laugh and say stupid things like all the time. I feel like
Mhm.
80% of my humor comes from him because he was just didn't give a shit what anybody thought about anything really, and like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet too,
Mhm.
but just said some dumb things that I thought were hilarious, but
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, pretty racist.
Yeah. I mean, they're from a different time, so it's just how
Yeah,
they were,
True.
right? It's
yeah,
they don't mean to be terrible, but just
I always,
nowadays it's
always
like,
found it
yeah.
funny. Like my grandma would be like telling a story. Like, yeah, we used to get ducks from a Chinaman named like Wang. I'm like, you can't say that. Like, just call him a Chinese person or Asian or
Yeah.
something. Like,
Chinaman.
yeah, Chinaman. Yeah. Or whenever
Yeah.
when I would go to town with them to St. Paul, like if they were babysitting me, they would always be like, stop at the post office, stop at the bank, and then go get groceries. So you like go to the bank, and then they'd go in. It's like, lock the doors, so no Indians get in here. It's like, all right, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandpa used to yell that kind of stuff out too all the time. They'd be coming down the sidewalk, and my grandpa would be like, "Baby, watch this, watch this, watch this." And then he'd have the window down. He'd be like, "Excuse me, can I get a smoke?" My grandpa would be like, "Go get a fucking job and buy your own smokes." My grandpa,
Jesus.
holy man. But then he would break down and give him one or two
Yeah.
even because he's just giving him a hard time. Like
Mhm.
fuck, he was psychotic, man. Oh, grandpa, he still is, I think.
There you go.
When was the last time we saw him?
2 weeks ago
Nice. How's he doing?
for mine and my dad's birthday, we brought him over and
Mhm.
from the home on the wheelchair,
Mhm.
rolled him over here and he's I don't know.
Yeah. Well, how old is he now?
76, 77. He's not that
Wow.
old, not
That's
really.
very young. Yeah. Wow.
And he's
Yeah.
stuck in a wheelchair, unfortunately.
Mhm.
But it's what happens, like you
Mhm.
lose your significant other and and
Mhm.
then grandma and grandpa have been together since
Yeah.
they were like 18, 19 when she passed away. That was it, man. So that's how she goes,
When
seems
did
to
she
be.
pass away? When did your grandma pass away? How long ago?
It'll be going on 10 years now,
Okay,
9
it's around
years,
the same
10
time as
years.
my grandpa passed away too.
I
Yeah.
think
So.
so. I think
Mhm.
pretty sure. I want to say, yeah, because she was about 67, 66, I
That's
think.
still young. Like my mom
Oh
turned
yeah,
60.
she had lung cancer.
Oh, okay,
She died
gotcha.
from
Yeah.
lung
I guess that
cancer,
makes
yeah.
sense with the cigarette, with the smoking. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she
Yeah.
tried to quit. I don't know how many times. Just tried to quit, and then
Mhm.
grandpa's like, fuck it, whatever, you
Yeah.
know, stubborn.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was sucky.
Mhm.
Didn't take long either. It was crazy. Yeah, when
Mhm.
she had it. Well, by the time she finally went to the doctors because she was so stubborn, she's like, I don't want to go over there. It's probably just something I'll just get over. She was having troubles breathing, and then it's just like,
Yeah.
nah, you got like stuff all over in your lungs, and yeah.
Mm.
Then like 6 months
Mhm.
after that, that was it. Done.
Yeah. They're
That's the way
gone
she
fast.
goes.
Yeah.
That's the way she goes, man.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
I think that might do it. We're kind of out of time here. If you guys have anything else to say, hmm?
I miss him. I miss our grandpa a lot.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
On all the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So.
I miss my grandma all the time. She would always phone
Mhm.
check up on me, make sure I'm still eating
Mhm.
and all this stuff because I'm too skinny all the time, and would always stop by,
Yeah.
ask me what size pants I have for my birthday so she can buy me new clothes, shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I luckily still am MMA still, so I see her all the time and visit with her, and yeah, so
there you
make
go.
memories with her while I can. Yeah. So.
Yeah,
Mhm.
my mom's grandma now, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
guess
guess
so.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see my
there,
parents have been grandma for over 20 years, so that too. Yeah.
right?
So see them.
Yeah.
See.
Now she's the cool grandma all the kids want to go hang
Mhm.
out with.
Oh yeah, my nephew is over there all the time because he can get away. He can get away with shit over there because Dave lives across the road, so they just Dayton comes over all the time at mom and dad's,
Yeah,
and he'll live there if he could because he'll get away with anything. He can do
yeah,
what he wants. Doesn't get yelled at. So
yeah.
best life for him. There's
Right,
Xbox, Nintendo. There's shit, nothing to do. No chores. Like no homework. Oh
right,
yeah, he's the
right.
best.
Yeah, exactly.
Shithead. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Cool. Well,
there you go.
yeah, I think that'll do it. If you guys like this podcast and you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. That would really help us out. And if you're listening on a podcast service, give us a good positive rating, subscribe to the feed, and head over to our Facebook page, like the page, and always be so kind of you to ask a question for us or ask us anything Monday episodes.
Mhm.
And yeah, that'll do it. We'll be back here on Friday for another regular episode. We'll see you then.
Goodbye.
See you guys.